Hello class, this is going to be the last video in this series and it's just how to use text in Illustrator. The reason why we're doing it here is because Illustrator is a great software to really combine drawings, create presentation boards which often include text. And so I'm going to show you how to do it here um, and you can use it that way. Pretty simple, it's not hard, but we'll just walk you through the steps. And so I'm going to make a new layer. I'm going to call it text. And I'm going to go to my text tool, which is right here, just this T. I'm going to click on it, and you can either click once or click and drag to draw the space you want the text to be in. It's going to automatically fill it with some text, and I'm going to give it a title. I'm going to call it Catskill House, and I'm going to hit a return, or I'm going to hit an enter. I'm going to call it rendered by my name, or your name. You know, rendered by because you didn't design it, so rendered by will be clear enough. I like using that terminology. Now you do want to take some time and think about the font size and the font type and things like that. Certainly the title can be fairly big. So it doesn't have to be super huge, but you know, make it bigger. Your name might be smaller. You can play with fonts. There will be other lessons in lecture about choosing good fonts and things of that nature. For now, I just recommend keeping something fairly simple. The default might even be okay. You know, you can play around with, if you pull up your character settings or your paragraph settings. Oops, I just expanded that by accident. There we go. Fit it back to my recorder. Okay, window. If I go to like character settings or type, you can go to type and go to character. You can do things like left or right justification, center justification, you know, whatever you want to think about. I can even do things like I can select this, I can go to character, and I can put spaces between them, making it wider, just that top part, so you know, it can even out the text, the top with the bottom text. So Catskill House is equal to rendered by Michael Tweed in this case. Maybe move it over, and it doesn't have to be top left. That's where I'm going to put mine. But I want you to go ahead and do that. Start playing around with text and getting used to it, and get your name on the assignment. And with that, we pretty much have ended this. But feel free to go back at this time and edit anything you want to. This is a good time to say, you know what, my blue or whatever color you use could be lighter, darker. Change colors, play around, go back and forth. You know, design is about experimentation, so you can go ahead and do that. Change line weights here, add an element there, whatever the case might be. Now is the time to really go above and beyond. And I will just finish by saying again, I think this was a fun assignment. We created a cool little drawing that was really an introduction to Illustrator. And while we might not typically do perspectives like this in the real world, a lot of the tricks can be used for presentation drawings, as we'll get to in a future assignment. And then if you get really good at Illustrator, because we've barely scratched the surface of Illustrator, when you get really good, as I've said, and as I do, you might go back and use Illustrator for rendering perspectives, or at least partly in creating content, because Illustrator is great for creating content. I've made trees in Illustrator so I can have full control over what the trees look like. You know, I've done siding textures, I've done sky textures, I've done all these things in Illustrator. I might use them in Illustrator, I might use them in Photoshop as part of my collage work, but when you get good at it, you can control anything and really do anything you want in Illustrator, which is why it's great. Now, it might take years of practice to get there, but you know, this is just the beginning of that journey. So have fun doing it. Good luck on this assignment. I can't wait to see what you produce. Oh, and one really important thing. Don't forget to go ahead and save your work. You can save it as an Illustrator file, and then of course print it out for class and whatnot. You can also Illustrator for uploading it or sending it. You can save right to a PDF if you need to. They're almost the same, but saving as an Illustrator is just fine. Don't always forget to save your work. And I should have mentioned, you know, save your work in between steps. It's always good to make sure you don't lose anything. All right, now I'm really finished.